Welcome, everyone, to A New Perspective. My name is Tim Sutton, and I'm here to bring you some, information. Tonight's going to be a lot of information that maybe you've never heard before. But if you have tuned into the show before, you know my background. But if you haven't, I am a law enforcement officer in the state of Virginia. And for the past 20 years, I have done a lot of work with individuals with disabilities, which I prefer to call differabilities. And the point of this show is to bring special people who are doing amazing things in the disability community, whether they're dealing with a disability or differability, or they're making noise, raising awareness to help those dealing with issues, advocating for them, and just giving you a better understanding of what's going on in their life and how they're dealing with unique circumstances. About a month ago, I had a gentleman on the show. If you watched it, Jay Allen, who just got voted off of The Voice, unfortunately, but he's going to be doing some amazing things. And through my contact with him, I discovered a friend of his, a very close friend of his, the gentleman we're going to have on tonight, Kevin Dill. And Kevin has been dealing with Lewy Body Dementia, and he has made a point to use every platform available to bring awareness and let people know what Lewy body dementia and other forms of dementia are and how they affect people and how they're affecting other people's lives. And so tonight we're going to have a discussion on this Lewy body dementia and some of the dementia issues. And I look forward and having a great conversation. I hope it's some information many of you can take and use in your personal lives, just helping families and helping individuals. So welcome, Kevin. Looking forward to talking to you.
Hey, Tim. Hi.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And like I said, I became associated with you because Jay Allen, I know his mom was diagnosed at 51 with Alzheimer's and passed away when she was 54. And just following him, I saw a lot of interaction between you and him, and heard some of your story. I reached out to you, and I really appreciate you coming on and just sharing your story. I've taught around Virginia a lot about Alzheimer's and dementia with a retired FBI agent, Robert Schaefer, and his wife was diagnosed in her late 40s, and he's got a book out there called The Identity Thief of the 21st Century. But one thing that's really struck me, he always said, I see you as a perfect example of this. He said, you can take those circumstances and they can either make you bitter or they can make you better. Mm-hmm. And you have taken this to a level to make yourself better and other people better by educating and letting them know all about the Lewy body dementia. And I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Thank you for having me on.
Well, give us some of your story. I know military, you were a police officer, so give us some background on you.
Yeah, I grew up in Iowa. As you can tell by the shirt, Iowa, America needs farmers.
Yes, they do.
And I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18 and traveled around the world. And I was a Marine embassy guard at embassies around the world and was an Arabic linguist during the Gulf War.
Wow.
And I became a police officer for several years, and then my wife transferred a lot. So I ended up at the Veterans Administration and was a director of Veterans Affairs here in Iowa on a local level, and helped the veterans get their benefits until I was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. During my time as the VA director, I was considered probably the expert in Iowa. Senators, congressmen, the White House has called me at my office.
Wow.
I wrote laws that got passed through the White House to help veterans. That was my thing. Helped a lot of veterans get their benefits until I got sick. I was a huge advocate for veterans until I got sick.
Well, you're still an advocate for them. So the dementia is not going to get in the way. You're still going to be an advocate. You always will be an advocate for them. What was the first sign, and how old were you when you started to realize something just was not right?
Well, my wife will tell you she saw it starting years ago, but my staff started noticing issues with me in the office about 3 years ago, I'm told. Just cognitive issues, memory issues, some personality changes.
Right.
I was always known as a very kind, patient man, very loving, but my personality began to change. And then I just thought I was tired
Right.
because I worked a lot. But then what got us to the doctor were the hallucinations that started. The visual hallucinations that I would see of animals, figures that weren't there, but I thought they were there. And
Right.
that's what sent us to the specialist.
Okay. And you talked before the show. We were talking and chatting a little bit, and you mentioned the dreams that you would have, and how someone who's neurotypical brain wise can have a dream and wake up and realize it was a dream. But with your type of dementia, it's completely different. When you wake up in your brain, that dream was still real.
Yeah, and it's still for Lewy body dementia, the nighttime is the rough time. Sleep trouble. Some is because we don't want to go to sleep because of the horrible dreams we have that to us are very real. And they're
Right.
real when we wake up, and they're real throughout the next several days and weeks, that is still real, and we're in that reality. So
Right.
it's a frightening. It's very frightening. It's very frightening to the caregiver because we
Right.
can punch and kick and do dangerous things. So many times I find myself on the floor sleeping to protect her, or sleeping in
Right.
my office. Things like that.
And that's one thing I teach when I travel is, those circumstances happen. A lot of officers are being taught with the domestic violence. If you
Mm.
get there and you see an injury and you've got what appears to be a predominant aggressor, the code section usually says that you shall make an arrest. Well, in
Right.
those situations, there's no intent. Um, so officers, most states I've been in, especially here in Virginia, there's code sections that tell you, yes, you shall make an arrest unless there are extenuating circumstances that would call for another course of action. A lot of times that's not taught. And I've had situations similar to a gentleman that was screaming that the house was on fire. He was reliving an event and the house was not on fire. And the wife was trying to keep him from leaving the house because she was afraid he was going to wander off and we'd have to be looking for him. And he grabbed her and threw her down on the ground, and she got a black eye. And she told me, she said, he has Alzheimer's, but he does not know I'm his wife. So in those circumstances, there was no intent to assault a spouse. But that's got to be frightening. I mean, it's got to be frightening for your wife. And, I can understand how it's so scary every night to go to bed because you just don't know what things are going to pop up in your head.
Yeah, we need to do a better job of educating law enforcement, first responders,
Right.
uh, with people with dementia-related diseases, because that happens a lot. And yes, our many police officers just want to diffuse the situation and
Right.
the easiest route possible. Well, then let's just cuff them
Yeah.
and
Cuff and
charge them
take them
with
away.
domestic
Do
violence.
you, looking back on your law enforcement career, considering what you're dealing with now, do you remember any calls for service that you handled that you wonder if it may have been directly related to some form of dementia?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was not a lot, but probably a good number of times we were called to those
Right.
situations, or to a wandering person who
Right.
we, you know, called into dispatch. Like, he's just, mentally ill. Let's
Yeah.
just put a 48-hour hold on him and get rid of him, when in
Right.
fact he just had Alzheimer's or dementia and he was lost. And then, we're putting a 48-hour hold on him in the hospital and wherever we're trying to contact his family. And we gone 10-8 and moved on to the next call.
Right.
Well, the family's like, why did you do that? Why did that judge, or why did you put a 48-hour hold on this guy or lady with Alzheimer's? And yeah, we weren't trained very well for that.
And you reverted back to your training. And the fact is, you don't know what you don't know. If nobody shared this information, or you never had a class to teach you what's going on, you do the best you can with what you have, but it's not necessarily the most effective way to handle the situation. And that's why I do what I do. Lewy body, I believe it's 1 million people in the United States, they say, or have that form of dementia, and the Alzheimer's Association, according to them, are over 6 million with a form of dementia. So it's not a question of if you're going to run across it in public safety. The question is when you're going to run across it, and hopefully you've been trained up and know how to do your job properly.
Well, I think you bring a good point. Is something we're advocating for. Is that's the people that have been diagnosed.
Right.
But there are many people with Alzheimer's or dementia-related diseases that have not been diagnosed because doctors and neurologists don't like to label that.
Right.
And so they're walking around undiagnosed as just major depressive disorder.
Right.
So they're not being handled properly by the medical field and by the law enforcement field with no fault of their own.
Right.
It's just our medical field doesn't do a very good job of treating the person.
Right.
They're just treating a disease instead of really treating the person.
Right. Right. And that's there's so much more to you than the Lewy body. It's like when I talk about autism a lot of times, some people don't like the word autistic because if you say so-and-so is autistic, you're labeling that person. Yes. And I always pick somebody in class. I'm like, okay, well, let me introduce you to so-and-so. They're cancerous. Do we introduce people like that? No, they're somebody with cancer. There's a whole lot more to that person than the cancer.
Yes.
And in your case, yeah, there's so much more to you, and we're going to show some people. But first of all, the diagnosis. We talked earlier about how difficult it is because the only way to tell 100% with these Alzheimer's is through an autopsy. Therefore, you hear the probable onset, and doctors are so apprehensive about diagnosing you with it. But tell us about your struggle with that.
Yeah. In the beginning, we went to a local neurologist after. I think I set off an alarm.
There we go. Still going? You want to check it? You can check it. If you want to take a look, make sure everything's good. You're muted.
Yeah, is it?
Well, everybody, Kevin and I had talked earlier, and the issue is that, like I said, the only way to tell 100% that somebody has Alzheimer's is through an autopsy. So many times doctors are not willing to step out and diagnose somebody with that. But
yeah, we went to a local neurologist, and after the MRI and the PET scan, the local neurologist said you have dementia, probably Lewy body. So from there, we went to the University of Iowa Hospital and Clinics to the specialists who are experts in this. They have a clinic for that, well known. And through some testing and all that, the doctor said, look, I can't 100% say you have Lewy body dementia because I won't know until you die. But based on my experience as an expert in this field, when we look at the umbrella of diseases in dementia, you fit Lewy body dementia. with the possibility that there's maybe some Alzheimer's in there, because I can't know.
Right.
So, yeah. So for some people that don't have the resources to go to a specialist, it's got to be hard on them.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Not to have a definitive answer. And,
Yeah.
you know, there are some good doctors out there, and I know some of them doing the best they can. It's just, you know, we need to educate everybody, you know, anybody that comes in contact with the general public about this.
So what we advocate for is, once you get the diagnosis, many doctors around the country
Right.
don't do the next step. They just diagnose and treat.
Right.
That's it. And so you, the patient, and your caregiver leave and sit in the car and say, what now?
What do we do? Right.
Because the doctor doesn't know resources. The nurse schedules you for your appointment a year down the road, but doesn't know resources.
Right.
And so you're left alone.
Right.
You don't know what to do. So we're trying to advocate the medical community that, hey, once you give the diagnosis, before you leave the office, someone will come in and say, here's a number.
Right.
Call that number, and they will work with you from now on your quality of life, resources, support, where to go, who to call, who to help. And that's what we're trying to do here in the state of Iowa.
And you're raising money, doing different things to raise money to help with that. And
yes, sir.
So tell us, we talked about the T-shirts that are probably coming back out. Really cool T-shirts y'all had made, and you said with Dillard's, with the little elephant on it. And you've done what, October 8th, you did a run trying to raise money.
I don't remember the day, but yeah, we did a 5K.
There you go.
To raise awareness and money for Dementia Friendly Iowa. It's an organization that we helped start with the Northeast Iowa Area Agency on Aging, and we raised money for the Lewy Body Dementia Association and for some veterans project. And Jay Allen came and performed for that.
Awesome.
Then we had a golf tournament. We're doing another, and I paint to raise money, and I travel around Iowa and speak at events to educate people on being dementia friendly.
Right.
And educating the community about dementia friendly, about educating businesses and doctors about dementia friendly, because it's a frightening world we live in.
Right.
And people with dementia, their world tends to go away. Right. Not just brain, but physically, people tend to leave you alone.
And that's when y'all need the support. People dealing with it need the support.
Yes. But we can't find the support because it's hard to find. So we're trying to create a world that when you are diagnosed, that world comes to you. When I was the VA director, I used to tell my staff, we're not going to wait for veterans to come to us.
Right.
We're going to wait for the VA to do a better job of marketing their benefits. They did their thing.
Right.
It's our job to go to them. It's our job to find them. It's our job to bring them in and say, hey, we're here for you. It's the same with dementia-related diseases.
Right.
Once you get the diagnosis, you tend to go off on your own with your caregiver, not knowing what to do. And we have to stop that. And the world needs to come to them.
Right. And another thing you're doing, and we talked about it before, and I think Anthony's got the pictures. You've been painting.
Yes, sir.
You do paintings, and I sell them to raise money. And the interesting thing you told me, I asked you how long it takes you to do it, and you don't really know. Your wife might know, but you just do the painting. And tell us about the painting. What gives you the ideas for the paintings?
With Lewy Body Dementia, you lose your concept of time. So to me, 5 minutes is 12 hours. You just don't know. The paintings, my wife started me on just to give me something to occupy my mind besides golf. I golf a lot with Adaptive Golf Iowa.
Okay.
To try to get people with dementia to play golf. But I paint because at times with Lewy Body Dementia, you freeze and you get lost where you're at and you don't know where you're at and everything becomes a blank canvas and you're just can't see. And then you come out of it and you see the colors again. And so I like to paint on the blank canvas to see the colors. And what I've learned through this is many people with dementia are painting that I didn't know. I just thought it was me. And so we started to paint and someone saw it and offered, I think, $500 for the first one.
Wow.
And I said, well, we don't take money, but if you want to donate it to a dementia organization, we'll do that. And so this year we've raised several $1,000s on my paintings. And we have, I don't know, I think 6 or 7 on order this fall of people donating money for nonprofit organizations for the painting.
Well, what gives you the inspiration to paint like the horse, the cowboy on the horse? Where does that idea come from? Any idea?
No, it's not from me. It's my wife picks them out and they're made and sent to me to paint. So
okay.
You'd have to ask her, but and I think sometimes people Facebook me and say, can you do the ocean with a chair?
Right.
And I'm okay. And somebody did call and is sending a picture of her and her husband at their wedding.
Oh, wow.
That will be put onto a canvas and I'll paint that.
So you're doing so much amazing stuff. And even with what you're dealing with.
I don't know for sure. We'd have to ask caregiver Tammy, but I think we've raised this year. I don't know. And I could be way off because numbers are funny to me, but I think with the paintings and the little events we do,
you can say a lot, a lot,
maybe around 70,000.
Wow.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah. You got to be an inspiration for people with the diagnosis to see what you're doing. And again, like I said in the beginning, instead of becoming bitter and holed up in the house and woe is me, you're out there making noise and trying to make things better for all the other people that are dealing with this. And
the reason I do that, Tim, is in the very first year I was pretty depressed.
Oh, I'm sure.
And suicide came into play because I was at one time this very well known in the papers and on TV a lot, and thousands of people would travel from all over the Midwest to come see me for their help. And now here I am all alone. Nobody called, nobody visited, and it was lonely. And I was struggling with my brain. And so for a moment, I thought about all the other people like me. Are they alone? Are they depressed? Are they contemplating something they shouldn't contemplate? Right. And I thought about them and I thought, sometimes we are called to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Sometimes we are put into that position. And I thought, well, this is what I have. What should I do with the rest of my time is to advocate for them. And so then I got out of my truck in the garage and said, okay, if this is my time, my season, what can I do? And so now I'm just trying to educate the community and the world to say, hey, we need to gather around black, white, rich, poor. It doesn't matter, around people with dementia-related diseases and love on them and create a world where their quality of life is better. And for the community to understand better.
That's awesome. Well, in case somebody wants to purchase a painting or make
Sure.
contact with you, donate, what are the best ways to make contact with you?
Yeah, sure. So I think we'll have I think I sent you a picture of the elephant T-shirt. I think
Yes.
those will be coming out again, and we don't take that money. It's raised for dementia-related organizations. Uh, the Waterloo Community Foundation in Waterloo, Iowa, has the Kevin Dill Foundation, and the
Okay.
money into there goes to organizations. So Kevin Dill is on Facebook. Kevin Dill is on Instagram. Uh, Kevin Dill has an email address that you're welcome to share.
Yeah, let us know what it is.
It's kevin.dill1118@gmail.com.
Okay.
If you want to donate to the Kevin Dill Foundation, if that is on your heart to do, you can email me and we'll get that to you. The Kevin Dill second annual Kevin Dill golf tournament is May 19th and 20th in Waterloo, Iowa. You're welcome to come to that.
Awesome.
We're going to try and do a thing in March to teach people around the state of Iowa. And I'm going to ask Jay if he'll come perform again.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to come to that. If you want a painting, you can reach out to us on Facebook or email and kind of give me an idea of what you like. And if you're willing to make a donation, I'd be happy to do it. I mean, remember, this is a person painting with Lewy Body Dementia. I'm not an artist.
Right.
But it's just for a
Right.
good cause, to raise awareness and money for other organizations.
Well, I'd say the Lewy Body brought the artist out in you because the paintings are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Anthony, hey Anthony, are we able to pull that shirt up that he sent the picture of? If you've got that back there,
Yeah,
I love that shirt.
we designed that, and then Dillard's partnered with us on an event for Kendra Scott, a jewelry thing that Dillard's has. My wife would know. And
Okay.
through Dillard's with those shirts and Kendra Scott, I think they raised, I don't know, like 30,000 for Lewy Body Dementia Association.
Wow.
And so we're
That's
going to
great.
do it again in the spring with a whole nother t-shirt. But if you want one of those, you're welcome to have one. I think they were like $20.
Okay.
And
That is awesome.
yeah,
That is awesome.
they're
So the
nice.
new shirt will have a new design, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, we are almost out of time, but you know what? I'm hoping I can get you back on here because you've got an amazing story, and more people need to hear what you're doing and all the things that you're involved in. And I wish you the best. And I definitely want to stay in touch. I appreciate you what
I
you're
would
doing.
I'm going to try and do while I can. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's all we can ask, but keep on going. Okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Tim.
thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you so much for being here.
Yes, sir. Be careful out there.
Yes, sir. Well, everybody, it was kind of deep tonight, but I think you get to see what living with Lewy body or any type of dementia entails, and hopefully we raise some eyebrows, and hopefully you'll reach out to Kevin and raise some awareness, as well as help him raise funds to help families and help individuals dealing with these different types of dementia. I appreciate him so much, what he's doing, and we will definitely try to have him on again. I think he's got a lot more to share. But please reach out to him, and I appreciate everybody being here tonight to watch this. I think it was a lot of good information, and I just want to thank everybody for visiting a new perspective. And Dad, I love you. Y'all take care.